All right. I think that we're live now. So,
welcome.
Yeah, welcome. This is Travis Fauber. He is the creator of Full Metal Tilt, which is going to be largely the subject that we're going to be covering today on our live stream. And you're also basically the mind behind Gray Cloak Publishing. Which has a cool new logo with the little cat with the gray cloak. Can't go wrong with a cat logo. There's just they're kind of this perfect blend of like cute and ferocious at the same time.
Yeah. Well, I just wanted to tell you, Ryan, thanks for having me on. I really appreciate it.
Well, thank you for coming, Travis. We're sure glad to have you, and we're excited to talk about what you've been up to with this situation that you've got. Let me share my screen here because you actually have a Kickstarter. So let me go. I'm going to go share screen. Let's see if I can do this.
Yeah, I'll just be clear. It's not live yet, but we're coming up on it. It's November 15th is when it will go live. So,
can you guys? Well, it's getting close. November 15th.
Oh yeah. We're getting close to being a month, almost a month out.
Yeah, that's awesome. So right away, I mean, you can see here, like this looks pretty awesome with the art that you got here. Here's that little cat I was talking about in the corner of the picture. And then you've got these two knights that are kind of going at it in like a melee tournament combat. Now, tell us a little bit about Full Metal Tilt, Travis.
Okay. So Full Metal Tilt is a jousting supplement. It is designed for Dragon Slayer and any OSR system. It is plug and play, so you can use it when I mean like any OSR system. You can use it with, say, DCC. You could use it for just traditional BX. You could use it for, I believe, Lord Mattias has said that he wants to use it for Lamentations of the Flame Princess. I mean, somebody could even take it at its current state and even use it for 5e. I mean, it is truly plug and play. This jousting system is based off of the chainmail jousting matrix, which I have expanded upon, and even added a lot more to it. I even added additional tables. I'm still working on 2 more right now, which will still need to be play tested and everything. Mm-hmm. And it's a fun, quick system. And the first time it got played, other than my current table, was at North Texas this year. Matt D'Amico, shout out to Matt. He was able to attend there, and he was gracious enough to run it for me.
That's awesome. Oh man, this was a really bad year to miss North Texas, because like it's the first year, since like we've done the last 2, 2020, right, 3 and 4, and then we missed this year, and we had Greg Gillespie there with his Barrel Maze supplemental game that was for sale there, and then you have Full Metal Tilt being played and everything, and just lots of fun that we missed out on. But that's awesome. I've also seen on your, I believe I've seen on Facebook, you like doing miniatures of like jousting knights on horses and stuff, and it looks awesome. He's really talented at that, by the way. Do you use that in your Full Metal Tilt, the miniatures like that?
Well, currently most of my table, ever since COVID, we play online, and that's not because of anything of that nature. It's just because it became more convenient. Most of us have kids, most of us are married, and that worked out better in the long run. But when I do go to conventions, which I just went a couple months, I mean, it's a few months ago in CharCon, which is in July. I can't remember exactly which month it was, but It's a local convention in Charleston, and I had built myself my own personal tilt as the miniatures, the setup, and everything. Because my ideal is that when I'm at an actual table, is that I would set up a tilt, and that we would run it, and everybody would bring their knights, whether painted or not, and play.
That's awesome. So, wow. So you would actually have your miniature horses, and they would move along the path, and then you'd I guess decide the combat based on the dice and everything, or cards as well.
Yeah. So in Full Metal Tilt, you can use just pen and paper or pencil and paper. You can use cards, which was one of the things that I came up with. Kind of a little tip to the hat from some cards that were used in Full Tilt by Games Workshop, but my cards are totally different because it's based off of the jousting matrix system, where you would have an aiming point and you'd have a defensive maneuver. So the cards, you would have one on the back that would have a lance, which would be your aiming point, and then your defensive maneuver would be the shield. So
let me pull this up. So because as you're talking about this, I got to reshare because
that's fine.
It's not capturing everything. Let me stop the screen share, and then
I'll be honest about the miniatures. It's really just for the looks, because when you play it and everything, you're not actually like moving them around. But when you paint them, you're kind of like, hey, this is my knight, got his or her heraldry here, and this is, I'm excited about bringing them out and saying, look, this is who's going to joust against you, And we've had interesting, just out of all of our matches that we've had, I've had people that had no heraldry, and then by the end of it, people's like, this is their heraldry. This is my background for this character. I mean, didn't have any idea other than just rolled the 6 stats and said, okay, let's try this out. So.
All right. Now we got a couple comments here. Really awesome avatar, G2. Hi, everybody. G2, how's it going, man? And then
G2. I wonder if that's Greg.
yeah, maybe it is. Yeah,
because I just cleaned up my YouTube not too long ago. Getting geared up for stuff and creating a playlist, and I know I was going to say that when I went to go find the video of when I did a live play with him in the adventure that you were referring to at North Texas, that it was underneath G2.
Oh yeah, that's great. Well, I'm humbled to have him. I love having Greg on the show. Great to have him. And then we have Jeremiah. Travis's miniatures are epic. I've seen them. Yeah, I can vouch for that too. It's awesome. And then we got Frank. He says, "Hey, Frank, great game and a lot of fun. Awesome." Have you played Frank? You must have. If you.
Well, me and Frank met up in that same stream that we were just talking about. Okay. And since then, we talked. Actually, since I broke out this Yeti mic and everything for you, so it's the first time I've broke this out since 2019.
All right.
Yeah. So, he was helping me test it on my Discord. But yeah, Frank's a good friend, and awesome. Then Jeremiah, I know him from back in the days when I LARPed. That's when we first met.
Oh, really? Oh, wow. That sounds like an interesting story. I bet. But we could get into that some other time, maybe.
Yeah, exactly.
Now, let's take a look. So here we're looking at Full Metal Tilt, which is like the preview version of Full Metal Tilt. Yep. And so if we scroll down, we can it talks about a lot of the concepts that you were mentioning. So I kind of wanted to give the viewers some eyes on everything as you talk about it. And awesome art through this, by the way. I looked a little bit at the illustrators, and we've got some great names in here, the basic experts in there, and the William McAusland. He's very talented. These guys are all really good. I thought the art scheme was great. We've got terminology, which is very helpful because jousting has kind of it's involved. It has its own set of rules and terms and everything. So it's really good to have this. And I think if we go down here, so here's the shield, right? So you've got kind of the different points on the shield that, are different target points, basically.
Yeah, and then you also have in the text, and I believe it's probably as you scroll up, it states it either there at the bottom or at the top. It says that one of the aiming points is the helm.
Right. Yeah, you can hit the helmet. That is right. I do remember seeing that. And here's the kind of an illustration of that, right? Because the helm is on the table for aiming points, and then the base like that. And then there's different defensive maneuvers that correspond. And if we were to look at the cards involved, because one way of resolving the combat is by using cards which are provided with the module or the let's see, is it a module? How do we refer to this?
It's a subsystem. Now, I am offering adventure modules, but we'll get to that later.
Right, we'll talk about those because those are great.
But what I will say is that because each one of the cards, and there will be a blank set to where you can create your own heraldry. I have one in there as an example, but I have a set, and these the heraldry of the ones that will be in there are from Frank Avila. He did the heraldry for the 10 pre-gens that will be in there. And I did the lance art there. But so the lance would be your aiming point. So you would pick one, you would choose one, you'd put your lance down, and then the other one would be your shield, and then you would put it down. So, and if you had a unique set, say you created your own, you'd have your.
Did you do the art? I think you did the art on the shield too. Yeah, I remember seeing that.
That one I did. But he's done the ones. I mean, Frank has been a great help. I'm just going to tell you that with the heraldry stuff that where I do all that like freehand that I'm like like drawing or learning by tracing a little bit. Just kind of getting just like you do, like anything else. It's like any skill. That he was able to, pop them out quicker than I could. And I was like, great. I was like, I really appreciate this. But you will see those in the future, the product and everything. Of course, I will get rid of some of those extra little card spaces there. But as you can see, you've got your different aiming points there, whether it's the helm, whether it's Dexter Fess,
Maybe
so forth and so on. So what you would do is that you would, like I was explaining before, you would pick your aiming point, and then you would put it down, and then you would pick your defensive maneuver, and you'd put it down. So you'd have a lance and a shield. Your opponent would do the same. Then once you're both ready and you announce that, then you would flip them over, and then thus go to the chart. And then that would determine whether you broke a lance, whether you fumbled, whether it's an automatic unhorsing, whether it's an unhorsed check, which means that's one of the things that I didn't particularly like. I know the heraldry guy, and that I wanted to make sure that there was a chance that even if you got hit, because you're going to take a hit, that you could stay on there. That's also, we can get into that about the unhorsed check, where that's opposed rolls. Then you have injury. If an injury shows up on there, there's an injury chart. And that can be determined whether the injury is like towards the body or if it's an actually helm hit, which gets its own set of injury tables. Then you also have the helm hit, which acts just like a broken lance, except it's worth more points. And then lastly, you have the option that you might be able to damage the crest on a knight's helm, which could, if they failed their charisma roll, might get aggravated and hot, and then they're not jousting so well after that when they rolls.
All right, now just to explain to you kids, so some of the basic rules for jousting, what you're trying to do, because you have these big long lances, you're trying to either unseat the guy off his horse, or you're trying to break your lance, and breaking your lance like gives you a point. But if you unseat the guy, then I think you win. Is that right, Travis?
Yeah. If you go back up to the scoring section,
All right, let me.
We can. It's real easy. We can cover that. We can ignore the tourney section since we're not talking about multiple nights, jousting multiple nights, just the tournament. Yeah, I had to give people enough brackets so that they could use them too. And then we have the tables here, which we can touch base on that in just a second. Let's go up to the scoring. Let's talk about how to win.
Okay.
The art looks so cool.
I think it's going to be up further, right?
Yeah, it's a little further because this is just where I brought in about a night class and everything, and then it's right there. Slow down.
All right, scoring. All right.
Yeah, so scoring. So you get 1 point is awarded for breaking a lance on a knight between the wrist and the waist and the neck. So basically, you break a lance on them. Then you have 2 points for the helm, and 3 points you get if you bear if you bear a knight to the ground, but you also gain their horse.
Oh, wow. Yeah. So you don't want to get knocked off.
No, you don't want to get knocked off.
Oh, man.
So, and then we have the tournament scoring, which is that when you have teams of knights, and then that way you have that other points, make sure that there's not really ties. And if there ever is a tie, say if you both get unhorsed or the points, match up to a tie, it goes to melee. You get to use whatever system it is. So let's say that you're playing Dragon Slayer. Well, then your melee system is Dragon Slayer.
Right.
If you're playing DCC, your melee system is DCC. If you're playing Lamentations of the Flame Princess, ditto, so forth and so on. So you get 3 rounds with a sword, 3 rounds then with a mace, which can include a hammer, whatever that your knight's using, a flail. I think I break that down, the mace round. Right. And then you also have 3 rounds with an axe, and then last but not least, 3 rounds from a dagger. And we have play tested this to where it went down to a last dagger blow before fell. Yeah. And at any point in time, the knight can, through the chivalry section I have there, just say, look, I'm out. I even had a knight that I knew that I liked, but I knew I could not take my buddy's knight. And I was hoping that I could just beat him at the joust. Did not, went to melee. And as soon as it was first strike, I survived the strike, and I said, "I'm out. I'm done. Yeah. I'm not taking the chance that you're going to kill my character." Because I like that.
You must have done like all kinds of intensive research around jousting and these kinds of tournaments and things like that. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, so I've delved a lot into just the historical part of jousting. I have also wanted to know what everybody else has done, because and I'm going to tell you a quick story about how I came up to decide to do this, which kind of like plays into kind of like the reason why my muse. My mom passed away in 2023. And my birthday is December 15th. So my Kickstarter is going to start on her birthday, which is November 15th, and it ends on my birthday, which is December 15th. But soon thereafter my birthday, and when she had passed away, I just woke up one day and I just had this feeling that why has nobody like done anything about like jousting? Like I have not seen a system that I can purchase. I mean, I always see the ones where it's like hit, target, just regular melee. It's just like, right. You do this, you add that. And I know that like at GaryCon, like they always had the jousting. And I was like, okay, I've never been to GaryCon. I wonder if I could find some stuff on. So I dug and dug and dug. And I never knew anything about the chainmail, jousting matrix, anything of that nature. As soon as I found it, I was like, okay, I want to like know more about it. So again, like you said, I just started doing all this research. Did the historical research once I kind of got a system down. Then I started looking and saying, okay, I know that other people have probably attempted at this. I know of Full Tilt, and I was like, so I wanted to see what did Games Workshop did, because I remember when it came out in the 90s when, I was playing, Warhammer Fantasy and Warhammer 40K with my buddies and Necromunda. But I just pretty much drank in everything that everybody, had did. And I thought, okay, I like this. I like that. I don't like any of this. and then I was like, how can I improve on any of this? And that's how we got here to today. So that's kind of like why it starts on November 15th. And what got me here. Like I said, I just woke up one day and I was just like, something told me to do this. That's
great. And what a wonderful tribute to your mother. Because I'm sure that, for me, like the whole like RPG experience kind of takes me back to my childhood. You know what I mean? That's part of what I like about it. In fact, this whole thing about jousting, I distinctly remember when I was in like grade school, just before junior high up in Canada. And I checked out this book from the school library that was about knights and stuff and castles and things like that. And it was so cool because it had like all these great illustrations and stuff. And there was actually a part of the book where you were supposed to like cut out little paper knights and do like, use them like a jousting thing. And there was like a thing you would pull and they would like move. That was long, like missing from the book, but but it's still cool. Like it's a super awesome book. And I just remember, I don't remember a whole lot about the book, but I remember the feeling that it gave me, So I think that's wonderful. It's a wonderful tribute to your mother and everything that she would and fostered for you to give you a wonderful childhood. And now that you're older and you're kind of turning it into something like a bit of a tribute. That's great.
Yeah. Like I said, it's just this news just hit me, and I was just like, there's something to this. It's like I've been on this rock way too long to know that I've seen too much stuff to know. I just like I was like, I have to do this. I have to do this. I have to drop everything else that I'm doing, and I need to do this. So
that's awesome. Yeah. Well, we're both December babies, by the way. My birthday.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, my birthday's only a couple days after. I got married on my birthday too, coincidentally. So I never forget my anniversary. Jeremiah says, when you're scrolling, it looks like a lot, but this system is simple enough to pick up quick. We use it for a backup one shot for our 5.5 E table. It's also deep enough for extended campaigns. Yeah, no, I think I can see a lot of utility in this, because like if you wanted to kind of have like some kind of a diversion type of quest or something like that for your characters, or some kind of political intrigue where they're in this situation where they have to join this tournament or something like that in order to get to the next level of the quest, those sorts of things. There's a lot of possibilities with this, and you could because Dragon Slayer and most D&D clone type OSR games are going to be based in a medieval European setting. It's just would slide in very nicely. So
yeah, I will. I did have that question come up, and it's something that I've been thinking about putting in like a kind of like a question and answer section. And I will say this is that one of the questions I got asked, well, what's everybody else do? And I'm like, I don't know what you mean, because we all just rolled up fighters and if you got lucky, a knight or a paladin, and we just played. And that's what it was, is that I told him, I said, look, I have this idea, I want to play test it. And I said, and the way that I weaved it into our campaign, which I run 1-to-1 time, that I said, look, there's a tournament going to be held, and in my world, it's not the Duchy of Eric as like it is, in Greg's. Mm-hmm. I have the barony of Nebelmore. It's basically it's my Baramaze area. So I had there that the Baron was going to put on his first tournament and everything, and so I had everybody just roll up knights, and then since then we we played from there. People came up with their own heraldry, came up with their own backstories about how the dice, may have not been so well for characters. I had characters that were not very good stat wise actually win a tournament. I've had characters that later on, when delving into just some hex crawl dungeon, that my dad's character and Matt D'Amico's character, both of them being knights, there was 2 magical items. One was a +2 hammer and the other one was a +1 hammer. And they were arguing over who gets the +2. So my dad said, let's joust for it.
Perfect.
And then the next thing you know, all I hear is Matt just like crying about how Dad beat him. So it makes me laugh that he lost. But it's just funny that it was just like, no, we'll joust for it. And they're like, okay. And so they just there was no like setting up the tilt or anything. It's just like, look, we're going to joust right here on the field outside of the city. So, and they did. So
did I catch this right, Travis? Your dad plays D&D with you?
Yeah. So my father started playing during COVID. My brother, when Wizards of the Coast was like releasing like everything, saying, "Oh, this is free, this is free, this is free." My brother has it's like a deluxe copy of it's a VTT, but it's one of the older ones. It's Fantasy something, and I can't think of what.
Fantasy Grounds?
Fantasy Grounds. So he had Fantasy Grounds, and he said, I want to run Phandalin. And I said, okay. And he's like, but I need your help with it because I've not run, but I can run the system and everything. I just need your help with the rules, and we'll get Dad to play. So we came up with the concept that we were all going to be family. So we're all playing dwarves. We're all the Thunder Shields. That's a little. That's
your clan.
Yeah, the clan. That's a little nod to Marshall University. So, so with Thunderstruck and everything. So, Thundering Herd. So I said, we're going to be the Thunder Shields, and so they came up with their names. I have Delg, and we have Dane. Dane's my dad, and then you have me, who plays the Dwarven Cleric, and his name is Angus. So we just started playing that. And then from there, my table, we usually switched DMs. And a buddy of mine was kind of struggling on like running towards the end of this Pathfinder one that we had converted to 5e. And in the end, he just kept, nobody's not here, so we're not going to run. So I just decided at that point in time, it's when I discovered Baramaze. And I started coming with the idea of like, well, I'm going to kind of like make my own system and everything. And I got another friend to get on, and Dad got on. And since then, that's been it. I just transferred his character over, and he's been playing different characters than that. And he's in his 70s, and he started playing RPGs now.
Never too late. Yeah.
Right. But back in the day, he used to play a lot of Bard's Tale. That was one of his favorites.
I love the Bard's Tale. We actually recently had a video where we talked about that, the Bard's Tale game. I used to play that when I was, kid.
Yep.
Gosh, that's awesome. Well, it sure is lucky to have your dad play D&D with you, isn't it, kids? What do you kids think about Travis's supplement here?
I think it looks so cool. The art is amazing, and like I love how easily you can just like put it into a game. Like you said, your dad and your brother, they're just like, okay, we're just gonna joust for this, and then they just did it right there and then. Like you didn't even have to like start anything like brand new. It's really cool.
I will say this and I love this term ever since I heard it on Lord Mattis's channel and everything. Is that as a referee or a maze controller, DM, whatever you want to call yourself, just get comfortable with silence. And that's all I did. Is they started arguing over it, and it took out from there. And he said, "Oh, we're going to joust for it." And they're like, "All right." And I was like, "Okay." I said, "Just let me get the stuff then." I was just waiting. Just let me get the stuff then.
It's perfect. let's see. Frank's asking if I'm in Canada. Well,
I think he said this when you were talking about your wedding in December.
Oh no, I think when I was talking about growing up in Canada, but yeah, we're from Canada, and we're patriotic American foreigners from Canada. But yeah, we actually live in the same time zone as Travis in the United States. We're very, very lucky and happy to be here right now. And then we've got Howard Young. He says, yes, great system, fun to play, easy to learn, hard to master.
I will tell you this. Howard is the inventor of my stretch goal, which I know I sent to you last moment, but I was thinking about it and I was like, I'll send this to him and everything. And just in case, if you wanted to play a joust online, like right now.
Oh yeah.
Well, because it takes care of it all by itself, because that's your options. You can either use pen and paper or pencil. You can use the cards, or you can use the Night Marshal, which is just a JavaScript. And it has, as soon as you pick and everybody picks their stuff, you put it into the Night Marshal and it tells you the outcome.
Oh, that's cool.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, actually,
I choose the tables.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, I had a quick look at it. All I saw was some computer code though, and so I wasn't sure if there was another file that was supposed to be included or something.
Yeah, so. once you open it up, just run the HTML and it will pop up in a window.
Oh, that's cool. All right, should I try it?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right.
I have it up right now, but I can't. I don't see where I can share here. So
Oh, really?
Well, hold on. No, hold on. I can see where I share. I'm sorry. I spoke too soon.
Okay.
Let me just throw it up here and I'll fire it up.
All right. Let me take mine down. That might have to happen first.
Share screen. Okay. All right.
Now you'll have to add it to the stage once it's in there.
Okay. So
once you press that button to add to stage once you see that little window down below.
I see it. And then where do I add it?
Oh, I'll have to add it. Maybe I'm the only one who can do that. All right, there we go.
That would make sense.
Yeah.
You're in control. This is your show. All right. So yeah, if you're jousting, I have the jousting table O, which is for old school or original, which is my tip to the hat to the jousting matrix. But it is different. It is totally different. But if you look at this, you could see what changes. If you're used to it, you could see what changes I have made to it. So of course, at the bottom down there, it has down all your symbols, whether it's a broken lance, a strike or a crest strike, a fumble, a glancing blow, a helm hit, an injury, miss, unhorse, or an unhorse check. So, does Abby and Josh want to play? You guys want to joust each other?
Let's do it.
Sure.
Yeah.
All right. So here's what I want you to do: is I want you to look at the table there, and do understand that whatever the aiming point that you choose, it is going against the defensive maneuver the other one is choosing. Mm-hmm. So keep that in mind. It's vice versa. But once you get used to it, then you kind of figure it out. So here's what I need you to do. So either get a piece of paper or whatever, or you think of which ones you want.
Or you can use your phone maybe. And then write a note.
Just write it down somewhere. And then when you guys tell me you're ready, then I'll get both of your results. They'll be done at the same time. There's no initiative. All the results happen simultaneously.
Okay, so we just choose
you choose an aiming point in a defensive maneuver. Now, let me tell you one caveat, okay? So if you look over to the far right end of the table, it says AP, that's aiming point, and DM, which is defensive maneuver. Now you'll see that it gives you a range there, or it could even say any. What that is that's the safe maneuvers that you can do while you're, jousting. So say if you decided for a helm hit, your safe maneuver is to use either 4 or 6 4 through 6 as a defensive maneuver, but you can get risky and what's called a risky maneuver and just choose something totally different. But if it comes up that it is an unhorsed check, you're automatically unhorsed. You don't even get a roll. You don't even get your roll to try to stay on the horse. So sometimes you have to risk it for the biscuit.
So when you select an aiming point in the left-hand column, it's not necessarily tied to the defensive maneuver that's right next to it, right? You can select any defensive maneuver.
Correct.
Okay. So hence the table in the middle, which gives you, basically like a strength and weakness, compared to what the opponent chooses.
Right. You have the outcomes. So, right. So whatever your aiming point is going to go against your opponent's defensive maneuver. And then when you're choosing your defensive maneuver, you got to think, all right, so if I'm taking a hit, most likely I will, or hopefully I, just glancing blow or just misses me totally. What's the choice do I want to pick, and does it match up with my choice of an aiming point? If it's not and it's risky, what's the chances are that this could go bad?
This is interesting. This is kind of like blind chess and like Battleship. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's. I think my buddy Aaron says this is rock, paper, scissors. He's like, but with a few more steps.
Yeah, some extra elements in there. Awesome. So, do you guys have you chosen what you're going to do for your aiming point and your defensive maneuver?
Yep.
Okay, wait. So it's basically like a math table. So for the big one in the middle, you like look down, like for example, steady seat, and then you choose like one of the ones that go down.
Yeah. So I'm just going to do a quick example for you. Okay. If I choose CP and I can choose any, and I decide to choose lower helm, and my opponent decides to choose DF or Dester Fess and chooses 4 because they don't want to be risky, that's our results. 2 broken lances.
Ooh.
So if you see here, I chose this, and then my opponent chose steady in the seat. That's how you get a broken lance. And since I chose lower helm and they chose Dester Fess, it's broken lance.
That's
always
great.
So you can see the colors.
Yeah, this is awesome. I like this. Who made this?
Thank Howard Young, who's in the chat.
Oh, wow. Howard, great job, man. This is awesome.
I know that he is going to be doing this for some students at Marshall University. I'm hoping to get a lot of playtesters out of this before the thing's said and done. So
Perfect.
I know that was his plan for it, as a project that he needed to do at the university. So, all right, I'm going to clear this.
Yeah,
which is one of the little suggestions we came up with instead of me unclicking everything.
Oh yeah, definitely. yeah.
All right. You all ready?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Okay, Josh, go ahead and give me yours.
Aiming at the helm with a lean right.
So just give me the number. So
helm 2.
2. Okay, and then Abby.
Okay, so I chose the any, so CP5.
CP5. All right. So here's the interesting
horse.
Well, there's actually Josh would he actually is going to make a unhorsed attempt against Abby. So he would actually try to roll his strength versus Abby's con to stay on the horse. But here's the bad part about this. See that U and underline? That's a crit. So Abby critically hit Josh, and Josh is just on horse. He gets no roll.
I win.
Yeah, so that would have been that match. Sometimes they go that quick. But if it did go down to where, let's just say that the choice was a little different here. let's see here, that Josh chose 4. So in this case, when you have over here, it says risky maneuver. If you notice down here, that would also have thrown everything off too. So this little night marshal is a very useful tool. But going back to what I was just saying is, if you were doing an unhorsed check, then what would happen is that you would have opposed rolls. With any evens, the defender would win. So in other words, if you both rolled 11, then so it'd be 11-11, the defender wins. That was my little nod to Risk, because my family plays Risk at Christmas every year.
Oh yeah.
So defender wins all ties. So, but that's what you would do with that, is that when it comes up to an on-horse check, it would be strength versus con, opposed checks. So it's a D20 roll.
Cool.
That's so cool. I love that.
Now,
We need to start doing more jousts in our D&D, Dad.
Yeah. Yeah, this is really
You'd be very surprised, like how different characters. Like I've had, like Howard. Howard has a character. I forgot what his original title is, but he ended up becoming the Dark Horse because he won a tournament. But even though he has not that great of stats, but he just with that table, he just outdid us that whole night.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
That's cool.
And then I have, like I said, multiple different tables. So
Right.
there's the original table, there's A, B, and C, and there will be a D and an E that I'm currently working on that will also get added into this.
Now, okay, so O is for original.
Original. That's like I said, that's a little tip to the hat or nod to chainmail. So if you pulled up the jousting matrix and you were looking at this, you would see that the table is similar, but it's not, because there is no crest roll, there is no C, there is no underline U for an auto. There's also a fumble here, which is your critical miss. Just means that you just dropped your lance based off of that. But this table, has been adjusted. Plus, the other thing is that in the original, when you chose, there was no risky maneuvers. You had to stay within those boundaries off to the far right. And then also, when you did break a lance, you could only choose position 4. I gave you the option of 4 and 6 at the bottom. So if you do break a lance or you fumble, you have to go back and get a lance when you're coming around for the next pass, or if you break one, of course, across the helm. In that process, no matter what is over there on the far right, you have to choose 4 or 6, because you're in a whole different, situation, because you're either picking up a new lance or, you're picking up a new lance regardless. Because I was thinking about the fumble, but you're still picking up a new lance. But you can get risky, and you can attempt to try something. And I do have a character that I do play him a lot. He's French. I call him the Peacock, and that's what he does. So I have him, play and game a lot.
Feathered helmet.
Yeah.
Now, what's the difference between the different tables? Because I saw that there's, different tables in the
Variety
book, and then so we have jousting table A. So it's just to kind of like mix up the probabilities a little bit, so it's not always, you're not always dealing with the same situations.
Right. And what's so funny is that I had come up with table A. That was my original table. And then a friend of mine said, "Oh, well, I saw that you had multiple tables there." And I was like, well, it's the formatting. I just didn't want to have like where it said appendix. I forget what my appendix is for that one, but it was like appendix A or B or C at the top. And I said, when somebody printed it off, I wanted them to just, if anything, they'd have the number at the bottom saying the page number. But they said, "Oh, I just thought that you had multiple tables now." And I was like, No, but that's a great idea. I was just sitting there thinking, I was like, well, I can do the nod, and I can then do multiple ones, and in the process, I did have to adjust table B, I believe. Yeah, table B, because when you start, that was one of the things I had a problem with, is that when using the same table over and over again, like the jousting matrix, well, I mean, other than just the probability that that people are going to choose relatively the same thing over and over again because they're used to the table. The other thing is that you kind of predict the outcome immediately, which is fine if that's your jam. But in my case, I was like, no, I kind of want people not knowing what they're getting into when they immediately show up to the table. So, and that's where I have down, it's a random roll. You don't know what jousting table is going to show up. Mm-hmm. And then you'll be like, okay, well, now I'm used to this table or that table. And that's why I'm going to, create the other two tables to add, I think it's 288 different combinations of outcomes.
Yeah. Wow, that's really cool. That's good thinking. Yeah,
well, wow. my hat's off to my players. I mean, yeah, I did the thinking after that, but they gave me the idea, and I was just like, okay, cool.
Yeah. I guess that's the benefits of play testing and running ideas by people, and that's fantastic. This is really cool.
Yeah, here, I'll stop sharing now, so you can share.
Oh yeah, sure. So I'll just add this to the stage here. So here we've got our jousting table O, which I was just kind of looking at to kind of correspond with what you were doing. Of course, these are, the different points on the shield. So hence the DC, CP like that. It's all laid out for you so you can kind of know what you're doing. And up here, there's also additional classes. So now this one is a paladin, and it says optional. How is this different from the paladin that we find in Dragon Slayer, or is this for players that might not be using Dragon Slayer?
No, it is slightly different. I'm actually going to have a second one of those because I actually had an additional thought after the fact. So if you scroll up to Knight, this will explain why we have paladin optional.
Okay.
So because we don't have a Knight class, I decided to go back and look at the Chevalier or the Cavalier, that was in the older book. Yep, Unearthed Arcana, you got it. Yeah. So I adjusted that, but I wanted to keep the ability scores because I wanted to follow along with like how Greg had set everything up. And I wanted to make sure, a knight's not somebody you just roll up. It's not like a fighter where you're like, okay, I got some strength. I can do this. I have a 9. I can do it. I know there's no, but in Greg's where you don't have an ability requirement. But back in the day, it was like it's a 9. That's what you needed. So at least the bare minimum. So I thought, well, we'll keep that. And then, I'll look at, what can I, put together for a night. So in the process of that, if I'm following the logic in my head, is that I looked at it as that you have the fighter tree. So you've got, just like he has with like the barbarian and the ranger, they all stem from the fighter. Well, the knight will stem from the fighter. And then following the logic out of the old book that we were just talking about, the Unearthed Arcana, that the paladin would be off of the knight. So I adjusted the stats for paladin. So when I have paladins in my game now, you have to roll much higher than what you currently had to roll back in the day in just the original AD&D. So it makes them, a little bit 1 in a million. So the first one that, the option that I have is pretty much the same. I am going to do a small adjustment, kind of bringing in some of the features of the knight into that. But it is the one that has, the spell casting and everything. I plan to do one where it's a paladin who has no spell casting, but would have their own version of not like a 5e smite, but would be a more like a Dragon Slayer version of a smite that they would have. Because in my mind, I like my paladins not to have magic. I feel that the divine casting paladins of that nature, they should stem from the cleric, the cleric tree, instead of from the warrior.
Mm-hmm.
But like I said, I'm going to do those two options. So, and then that's where I just showed that if you go back up to where it shows the ability requirements, you can see that it's very hard to come up with one. And here's the crazy thing is I have a buddy who rolled up a paladin straight up, and then we did a con event, and he was I was running Greg Gillespie's one-page dungeon that he created called the Bastion of the Bullywogs, or the Sanctum of Solace.
Mm-hmm.
And they freed one of the characters that's in there as a young man that can be a retainer. Well, he leveled him up through the barrows and everything, and then ended up rolling his stats. And guess what he rolled? He rolled another paladin. And I was like, "You got
no way!
2 paladins back to back." I'm not kidding you. He rolled it. He said, "This is amazing." And they're both paladins of Solus, or in my game, it's Solus is the old name, but it's Alanis.
It's kind of, so is he kind of like the apprentice of the first paladin? Is that how?
Yeah, because he took him on. He took him on because he felt bad, because when you walk into that room, and you got a bullywog and he's eating children, and people that was also captured, and he's just there and getting to see that eye to eye, and he was like, "Well, it's kind of worked out, it's just sometimes the dice just know, and it just works out." And I was like, "Look, you created a paladin that has all this hatred in him. I will get rid of all these evil creatures."
Just recently, that kind of reminds me. Just recently, like for the first time, I thought I'm gonna roll 2 d20s in this little dice tower that I made. Double 20s. First time I rolled, I thought, "Oh yeah, that's pretty cool." I even texted the kids about it. It's like it's a 1 in 400 chance. I looked it up. So, but that's because that's pretty. Those are high rolls,
Yeah, and if you notice too that art there, if you were a fan of the D&D cartoon, that is. When I found this art, I was like, I have to put this down as a paladin, because it's what is this? It's a bright man. What's his name? See, I gotta look it up now. Shoot, I forgot.
That's okay. Yeah,
but he was the paladin. He was the paladin that was in the show, and they made all the different pieces from him as in the cartoon and everything. What I mean by pieces, as in like the toys.
Yeah, I remember seeing an image of him. I never did
Bright Hammer or something. I can't remember.
Yeah.
I can't remember.
Never did watch the cartoon, but I remember seeing this guy. And so that's great. That's perfect then for the paladin class. That's awesome. So this is great, and so so this is the sneak peek version, and there's a lot of stuff in here, Travis.
Yeah. So one of the things I'm going to do is that when it launches, I will already have this skimmed out to where there is it's just a basic set. It's just the basic rules. It doesn't have the optional rules that I'm working on. So like I'm currently working on optional rules where it's like you got your character, you can apply your character level. You'll have ladies' favors. The crowd momentum was a suggestion to me. So when you start the helm show, that you would be able to come out, and you don't even have a herald that can help you in this. It's just the helm show. It's just you and your charisma, and then you see how the crowd reacts to you. And in that process, whether you get a lady's favor or not, and what is that lady's favor, I have tables that I build out for that. And then also your horses and equipment that will also play into that. Let me just look down here on my Kickstarter page here. So I'm also going to be, there'll be 2 adventures that will be it.
Should I scroll down? I've got it up right now.
Yeah, I think it should be at least those where I should have what's going to be inside. There is some of the heraldry that
these are cool.
Those right there is the pre-gen. Those are 5 of the pre-gens. There will be 10 of those. Those were all done by Frank Avila.
I love them. This one would make a really nice necktie.
Oh yeah,
yeah, Hogwarts. Yeah, it's cool. I like it. Yeah, I like all
of them. And then down here you kind of see what's in the book, right? So just scroll by. There we go. Okay, so we have the pre-generated characters. I'm also going to do. I might even do more than this, but we'll see how it rolls out. But I want to have 20 of the classic monsters. So when I refer to classic, I mean I'm going to have the questing beast. I'm also going to have one of the things I'm going to enter into Patty Parler's contest that he's running for monsters and everything. The Tasselwurm from Bavaria, Austria, and Switzerland. Which is my Grimalkin, which are my elven cats, which I'm also going to put in there because that has to play into using the Tasselwurm. I refer to these cursed cats as the long cat. So, but you would have classic creatures that knights would go out as quests and such, yeah. And I kind of mentioned that about the crowd and stuff. But heralds, there will also be a moment when you can rely on your herald to pump up the crowd for you, in a sense.
Cool. Yeah, because you come out there with all those bright colors and stuff, and it's oh yeah, that kind of pumps up the crowd.
Mm-hmm.
That's cool. Yep. Now, how do you get a set of heraldry colors? Is there going to be a mechanism for that in the game, or?
No, I haven't went as far as that. This is mainly that's kind of where your character kind of comes up with their own heraldry. I mean, you could go as far as, I know that you would have something that if you were a knight, then it would stem from your family, what your heraldry would be. But then, and depending on your lineage, if you get to have the family's crest, not just necessarily your own, but then you have people that are just born as they I forgot what exactly the term that I use, but meaning that they are chivalrous in heart. So even though they might not have a patents, which that will be brought up, that they could still compete, whether they might be in the Lord's service and they're saying, yes, I'd like to have this, this yeoman, compete, so forth and so on, because, this person's tough and I'd like to see them, rise in the ranks and everything. That's, like I said, with the heraldry and stuff, I'm not going to get into that, into the weeds on any of that. But that's something that if somebody wanted to make it, I guess they could. That's cool. Or something in the future I might do. I don't know. So
is that historical at all, or is it kind of more rules for the game?
Well, I did delve into that. So because I kind of wanted to know about, can a commoner,
who's eligible?
Could be eligible, right? Yeah. So if you belong to an order, if you, say in like a free company, or you were, in service to, you could actually be able to compete. But then some fields were just told, no, you got to have patents for, so many generations on both sides, so, and you just can't compete. And then of course, higher nobility could just come in and just say, look, I'm going to knight so-and-so because I want them in my service. Just same back to the whole military thing that they, could get a pass in a sense.
Cool.
But in this is I don't want to be that stringent, but I do want to allude that you could, if you wanted to do that. And then, that in itself, can play onto your table of, your campaign, just saying, hey, this is a story of why I can't joust. So I'm going to go down this whole line of, find a way to joust or, get back at this person that says I couldn't or whatever. So,
yeah, that could be an interesting dynamic. Someone who's been like kicking the sand in your face, all those years ago or whatever, because they're noble and you're not. And then, you meet them on the jousting tilt. That's cool. I somehow we lost the kids. I don't know why, but Frank says if anyone needs help with the heraldry to hit him up. He's kind of the resident expert on all that stuff. I take it.
Yeah. Frank is real good. Frank is real good.
Awesome.
I highly recommend him for anybody who's looking for heraldry art.
That's cool. That's really cool. Well, let's take a look at, what we have here. Easy and fast jousting rules. And that did go fast, and it wasn't hard to learn either. This was really great. 6 jousting tables, the 288 different outcomes, rules for and tables for horses. And then you talked about the ladies' favors, all that. Heralds, winning the crowd, new knight class, 2 optional paladin classes, new equipment for your knights. That's cool. 2 jousting adventures. Oh, that's great. 20 new and classic monsters. Hey.
The internet fell out.
Okay. Do you want to try and get back on and see what you can do? Or
is the thingy on?
No. Well, yeah, I've got internet still. I don't know.
What's wrong with
try and reconnect on your laptop. So I don't know.
I'm gonna be here now.
It happens.
Yeah, he's just gonna creep over my shoulder.
Forced perspective. I like it.
Yeah, that's right. I just stand there awkwardly. Now, 20 new and classic monsters, which is great. 10 pre-generated characters with heraldry art. That's good. Very good. 10 printable full metal tilt cards. I think that's a great touch. Like the cards is really fun, it kind of gives you this, interesting way of resolving the situations. And, it kind of takes you out of like what your normal thing is and makes you feel like you have entered some kind of a tournament situation,
Yeah. And even if you think about it, back to your question about heraldry, I'm leaving them blank so that you can draw it out yourself. You can think about, and like I said, some of the people that I played with, they had no clue. We were just jousting. We're going to play this system. We're going to learn it. Next thing you know, I've got a guy who's like, this guy's got clammy hands and his symbol's the clam. I've got another character. I got a buddy who decided one of his really good nights that he rolled up. His name is Richard Big Timber. Richard Big Timber symbol is a beaver.
Oh yeah,
beaver with hatchet. So just like I got
trees,
right. And then I have the one character that's has the peacock. It just evolves. Into people just come up with their stories and they're just like, okay, this is this guy's heraldry now.
Fast jousting rules. So I'm gonna mute you, Abigail, because it's doing weird stuff with your sound. Let's see if that is better now. That might have changed. I think you're back online, Sonny. Are we? Yeah.
Why are you like hanging over your shoulder?
I know. Yeah, hello, Father. It just kind of shows up.
I am first in line for that heraldry.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. He's gonna claim his birthright.
No, I think I'm gonna sell it off for like a
full soup. Yeah, yeah, it's a good idea.
Wasn't it like oatmeal or something?
I think so. Yeah, it was some kind of like stew or something. I believe Esau. All right, so we got 10 10 printable full metal tilt cards, and then printable blank set of full metal tilt cards. So you can add your own heraldry to, which is awesome. And then 12 jousting tournament brackets, which we saw that was like the, who's going to win kind of brackets.
Yep.
Then, awesome black and white art, which is awesome. That's great. This is a really good package, but that's not all there is either. Like, it's not just the jousting. There's so much more with this Kickstarter. Tell me about some of the other things that this comes with.
Yeah. So when I was doing this, I also kind of thought, well, this is, kind of me getting started with Gray Cloak Publishing. So I thought, it's the same question that person had asked me. Well, what does everybody else do? Well, if you don't like jousting, then I've got adventures, and I have 2 that have won Greg Gillespie's dungeon design contest 2 years in a row, back to back.
Yeah.
So the first one being the Barrow of the Unbroken King, which, I gave you a copy there to preview. And going back to quickly, I'm just going to say this. So when it does go live, I will have like I said, a basic preview to where somebody could just use the original table to joust. You don't have to downsize it or anything.
Maybe I'll
bring it out. Okay, cool. So that will be available. So if somebody is like, hey, cool, can I test this out? Sure. You can go on to drive-through. I'll have that put up the day that it goes live. On top of that, I'm currently getting the Barrow of the Unbroken King, since it is available on the page, but I'm going to polish it just a little bit as a preview, and I'm going to put it live here soon to where somebody could play in the adventure in it, and if they like it, well, I'm making an expanded version of it that I'm going to also be adding to the Kickstarter, saying that if you don't like jousting, then maybe you like adventures. So there'll be an expanded version of the Barrow of the Unbroken King, and there will also be an expanded version of the Whispers of the Second Deep, which I'm also going to get a cover and everything, polish it up a little bit right after that one, and put it out as a small preview, because again, it's already free, it's already available out there, but most people don't know. But if I put it on Drive-Thru RPG, people will be like, okay, cool. But if they come to my Kickstarter, they'll be like, wow, I can check this stuff out right now just to see if I want to buy this. Sure, there you go, you can play it. So but the first one, going back to it, the Barrow of the Unbroken King, my favorite race next to humans is elves. Mm-hmm. So the Barrow of the Unbroken King is, kind of like my little nod to elves, and I placed it within Dwaro Deep. So in the Everwinter Woods, that's to the east of Dwaro, or the Eternal Mountains. That's where I decided to put a little area that I referred to as the Mounds of the Fairy Kings. And the Barrow of the Unbroken King is one of those. And that there is evil that has been tainting those mounds. And I kind of write stuff based off my own experience and where I grew up. And when I was growing up, not too far from when I was a little kid, is an Adena barrow mound, or one of the mound builders mounds in South Charleston, West Virginia. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's just right in the middle of town. Like, you can go see it. It's a very nice little park area. But also, what drew me into Barrow Maze is that I'm not too far from where the Mothman is, out of Point Pleasant, West Virginia. Yeah. And there's over 100, and I would say probably over 100. I think there's like 130 bunkers that are there. But I've been exploring them because my dad took me out there, and we're real big into like UFOs and cryptids and stuff. But on the side, that was my inspiration for the Barrow of the Unbroken King and the Mounds of the Fairy Kings, is that this is a forested area where these barrows are very hard to find, but they're out there. And like I said, that there's this evil that's been creeping, and that the Elven King, or the Elven Chief, has decided that some of the stuff needs to be put down, but they don't have the numbers to do it. So they need to seek outside help from the dwarves and the humans. So that's where we get into diving into the bearers and their lands within the forest. Which is a frozen forest, by the way. So
I love the cover. This is really cool. Like, I love what you did with with these miniatures, and like this is all your like stuff.
Yeah. This is I painted those. My plan is, unlike the monochrome that Greg's doing, is I want to do each one of my modules, including the full metal tilt, with my miniatures. I want to have a miniature piece, on the cover and everything, showing and just like in the typical style, what you're going to be facing, or what evil or whatever the subject matter is within that adventure or supplement.
It's so cool. It's a great idea, and it looks awesome.
Thank you.
And I haven't played your modules, but I know that they're great because you keep winning. You keep beating every year. I'm gonna have to
play them.
I'm gonna have to hire the Tanya Harding guy to come break your keyboard fingers so that I can win some here, place in there.
I will say that. I will say this, Ryan, that I've said this multiple times, that if I get one more win under my hat, then I'm going to sail away. And if I lose, I'm still going to get that one more win, and then I'm going to sail away.
Really?
Yeah. I'm still going to compete. I'm still going to compete. I'll just do it for fun, but I just want 3 crowns, and that's it.
Yeah. By then you'll have enough free product from Greg, right?
Yeah. Well, it's funny because Matt D'Amico teased me. He's like, you're only just doing that because you got everything he's got. I was like, he's still putting out more, Matt. It's okay. But it's like it's fun, and I enjoy doing that. But yeah, sure, you guys should play it, and both of them that I've provided there, those because like I said, those are going to be polished up a little bit more, but those are totally functional, each one that you have, and if you guys play it, I'll give you play testing credit in it, before it's officially expanded and published. So just if you get a chance to do it before then. If not, don't worry about it. So.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, we'll keep that in mind. I'm trying to transition the kids at some point.
You're trying to transition the kids?
Yeah. that doesn't come out very well, does it? I'm trying to take them from.
You're trying to take them
to.
I do have a module for that where the kids are taken. Jeremiah can attest to that. He has read it many, many a times. So, but that one's not part of this. So
rescue.
Yeah, we'll see how. I've got a good one for that, but we'll see how things go. It might end up in a stretch goal. Who knows? So we'll see.
We're gonna take them and we're gonna trans them. You'll find out, Abigail, why it's called D&D Dad Son. But
not because we're going to trans you, but because we're going to take you behind a shed and shoot you.
All right, but anyway, I was thinking of a way to kind of get them from B2 keep on the borderlands to barrel maze. So, there's a lot going on that we could seriously have a years-long campaign and keep on the borderlands. But I do want them to, at some point, experience barrel maze and other things as well. So we'll see if we can, because I know this is going to be awesome. It's like Jeremiah says, the modules are so good. The world building in them are rich and immersive. I've ran them for ages 7 to 52 and all love them. And there's the cat. All of that.
I'll talk about that in a moment, but I was going to say thank you, Jeremiah. I really appreciate that. Ryan, I will tell you how you can do that because I did it. When I started out the world and everything, which my world that I run is based off of my LARP world that I created in 2006.
Mm-hmm.
So Narangal, in it, I based stuff around, which I refer to as the border mark, which is where I put the keep, and it's called the Bergfried. And I ran adventures from that. And then one day as I had started in with the whole barrel maze thing, and I was running for my dad and my buddy. And my buddy, Aaron Ray, he was playing the halfling. And so we had some other characters that wanted to join, but they're in a whole different location. So I was sitting there thinking, well, I'm trying to move everything to one time. I'm trying to get this, So I thought, well, we'll say that he got hired to, bring people down. So I just had him come in saying, hey, why don't you come down to this area? There's all kinds of treasure and all this. And they're like, the other people's like, yeah, sure, we'll go down there. So, and then I end up so I have on my map, I have B2 I have 6 Mile Hex instead of 5. But in the 6 Mile Hex, you have B2s all in that hex. And then to the south, east of it is where I put the Barony of Nebblemore, which is where the Barrow-Moors is. And actually, to the northwest of that is where I put the Forbidden Caverns of Archaea.
Okay.
And then to the south of that is the Dwarven Lands, which is where I put Dwaro Deep. And then, and then even further south than that is where I actually put which is what I recently, released on everybody is Highfell, because I had it when I wanted to change the magic and stuff in my world and transition things that I was getting out of from running from 5e light to closer to old school with my system. That I was like, okay, the magic has changed, and here's the event. This school used to be on top of a mountain, and they were never near it, never even had a thought about it. Then they just heard about it, and they're like, oh, okay. But that's what I'm just saying. Just put it out there. They're just tent poles, and then if they get high enough level that they can start doing some hex crawling, just let them hex crawl there. Maybe they're just like, hey, I'm just kind of like done with this. Maybe this is for, lower level characters, and I want to go over here to this dangerous maze of barrows.
I think you're exactly right. That's the way to go. And I'm kind of like thinking, should I wait until, Greg comes out with his gazetteer and pick a place where, the keep is going to be and relative to Barrow Maze.
That sounds like a solid plan to me. And it sounds like he's going to be putting that out, at the beginning of next year or late next year. So, in the first quarter, if not at the beginning of the second. So his turnaround so quick that that's not, you guys could still play what you're playing, and then, boom, then you can just be like, okay, where you guys want to go? We have this whole big wild world now.
Yeah. That'll be here before you know it too.
Yeah.
Josh, he'll be going on a mission, next year, probably in the latter half of next year, probably is my guess. So I want to get him to taste Barrow Maze before he's gone for a couple years, and can't play.
Well, the thing you could do is you could just, instead of just saying, well, I need to wait to put it there, you could just say, okay, well, we're going to go over here, and then you can just talk about, they hopped on a cart or whatever, and then they're there, and then you can place it wherever, and then you'd be like, well, that's where you started at. Now this is where you're hanging out in, Helix, Yeah.
So some great options there. That's pretty cool. I love that. All right. So we've got some great art here. This is by WM. That's William.
It's William.
Yeah, McGosland. It's awesome. Guy's talented. A bit of an introduction to the Everwinter Wood and the Mounds of the Fairy Kings. And you've kind of talked a little bit about that. Love the dice. Always love a good pencil picture of dice, Just kind of gets you in the mood for role playing. And then, burial alcoves. This is very evocative of a kind of barrow mound or something like that. And then we got, some adventurers and with discussion about retainers. And I love the way you've laid this out. Like it's got like the little boxes and stuff like that. That's one thing that hadn't really been invented yet for B2, like here's kind of like a little snippet that, it's not quite laid out like that, but.
Yeah, a B2 is my favorite. I've ran so many people through it to where my friend Aaron Amick that when in high school would just be like, man, I'm getting sick. Oh, let me guess what you're going to run. You're going to run the Borderlands for us again. So when this stuff came out, I was like, okay, now I've got the feel and I don't have to worry about somebody going, so you're going to run this again.
Yeah. It's a great module, isn't it, kids? Having a good time with it?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, plot's thickening too. Like they're
Zach and Morty will hear about that.
Was that?
Zach and Morty will hear about that.
Oh yeah,
Zach and Morty.
They're getting themselves into a bit of a pickle because of the rivalry they've had with this Marauder company, other adventuring group, and they didn't take into account, kind of the what might hit the fan if they hustled with them. So here we've got, this looks like a proto map that that
was the original map that I drew for the contest.
Okay, that's awesome. I like it. That's the winning map. Let me see.
So I always start with basics. It's something it took me a while to learn, but So that's what I just recently did quickly within an hour or so after I went back on a map. I did that through Dungeon Scroll, but Dungeon Scroll. It's a great app. A great app. It's also one that you can just use. Have you ever used it?
I've never heard of it. Yeah, but okay. I want to go check it out now because this is really good.
Yeah. So Dungeon Scroll, I highly recommend it. They do have a fee if you're going to use it commercially.
Okay.
It's not much. But what I was going to say is that I hand draw everything first because part of my process and everything is kind of like back to basics. I want to draw it out in kind of like how I write. I want to write stuff out in pencil and paper. And then I'm like, okay, and then I transfer it over. And then I'm like, okay, now we need to look at layout and so forth and so on. But it just helps me like visualize things while I'm doing it, just as part of the process of drawing it out. So.
No, that's cool. And it's fun to do, huh? Because it kind of takes you back to like junior high days when you could just like sit in class and do that in your book or something.
Yeah. Yeah. So when I did this one, I did 2 other maps, which are potential adventures that I've not, put out or anything, but I kind of have a theme, or as Chubby Funster says, as he's been doing his dungeon series, is a gimmick. So like this dungeon's one of its little gimmicks and everything is that when the expansion comes out revolves around the god that I put in here, which will be also I'm going to expand on a little pantheon, in this one.
Oh, that's interesting.
Which you got Fae, because we're talking about the elves and everything. Because the forest, I'm going to treat it like it is its own little Fae realm. But you're also dealing with, the undead and everything. So it's kind of like, don't leave the path, those type of things. Like you don't maybe not know where you're going to end up or what time. So,
I think that element gets a little lost sometimes with elves. They kind of treat an elf like, a human with pointy ears, but really like they are this fey creature and they're kind of otherworldly. You know what I mean? And like, I think we forget that sometimes, or people don't play elves that way sometimes. And but no, that's cool. And that's one thing I actually like about this, because like it kind of ties elves directly to like fairy kingdom. you know?
Yep.
So that's pretty cool. I like that.
Yeah, in my world and everything, they came to this world. They're not from this world, you know, because of the fact that they came from the fairy realm. I will tell you, give you a little hint to broaden up my competition. All my maps are randomly generated.
Okay.
And that's me with a dice roll and a chart.
All right. Cool.
So I just didn't come up with saying, okay, this is the way that this is going to be. And it's the same for the Dwarven one as well. With a little bit of common sense, but for the most part, the easiest, I told this to Frank, a little nod. If you go to the Dungeon Master's Guide in 5e or your AD&D book, you can find 2 dungeon generated sections, kind of like, you know, how Greg has done, except in this, what I do is while I'm drawing, I'm just listening to some folk metal, and I just start rolling the D20, see where it takes me.
That's cool. Yeah, no, that's great. It's kind of organic that way. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Oh, that's really cool. Yeah, I really want to place this coming year. We'll see how it goes. The competition is so stiff. Such good talent. All right, I like this. So this is an Everwinter elf, and I really like the art here. You know, whoever did this, it just looks perfect.
I know his last name starts with a K. Of course, a lot of the artists that I have, I've not worked with directly. I have purchased this off of Drive-Thru, and I've scanned through this. I mean, some artists like Patty were about my logo and everything. I did work with, but I don't want to butcher the gentleman's name, but I do know it starts with a K. If you go back to the beginning,
they probably are credited at the top.
Yeah, they're credited. I mean, because there's not many other than William that's in here. Jeffrey there.
Jeffrey, yeah, okay, Cock or Coke or however you might say that.
Yep.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah, when I came across this, I was like, "This is perfect. This is what I need for my Everwinter elves." And I kind of just wanted to, put a little extra into my modules. So that's where I did the little new sub race and everything in case if people wanted to play the elves in there. So.
Yeah, no, I noticed that reading through this, like, oh yeah, he's created a little like niche elven race, a little sub race, like you say, that fits into the module, which is really good, and that's a great picture. That kind of, very evocative. Now, Appendix C is blank.
Yeah, I haven't. That's when I said like I'm going to put it on Drive-Thru for people to like play and everything. That I'm currently like going to put all the different new monsters and stuff. Which I mean, you have like what was it, the Barrow Guardians and everything. That those will have an elven tint to it, so it's more like a variant. Whereas there'll be other things that will be different. Because I do plan on kind of giving people a little sandbox, which is, back to where I was talking about the mounds of the Fairy King. So they'll have a little extra, put in here. But right now, like I said, it's just a little preview copy. It's not.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, it's not meant to be complete, and that's totally fine. And then we got the legal. Yeah. If you, I don't know where you source your artists principally, but if you're looking for someone to help you with art, you can consider me. I don't charge. I just think it would be cool to be in somebody's thing. So, but you'd have to like my art. So,
well, Ryan, I was going to say that after I saw your friend's art that you drew for him and everything, trust me, you're on my list. I haven't decided where I definitely needed something from you. I do like your character drawings a lot. Because that's why, like I told you, when I saw his half orc, I was like, that takes me back. That looks like it could have just been something straight out of the 70s or the early 80s. I was like, that is perfect.
Well, your
art is great, by the way.
Oh, thank you. Let me show you real quick the module that I lost to you too. I actually did.
I remember it.
You do? Okay.
You know, what's funny is I look at all my competition when I look, and I was like, and when I saw your cover, I was like, man, I don't have a cover. That is a bad ass cover. That's
You know, Dad.
Thanks, man.
Dad, if you wanna win the next competition, you just ask me. I'll give you like a weird idea, and you roll with it.
Yeah, maybe.
Right, like Chubby Funster says, get a gimmick. So get Josh to give you a gimmick and go with it, man. Go with it.
Yeah. That's cool. Yeah, no, great. All right, and then let's take a look at the other one. So we had the Whispers of the Second Deep. So no cover yet, but we have a very fleshed out map, though. I love the text here. The font is cool.
I will tell you that this one, I put a family nod in here because remember I told you that our dwarves are the Thunder Shields. So if you want to know where this one's placed, is that in Dwaro Deep, the very first gate that you come to, the King's Gate, that gate, which is like the one that's like 4 hours away from Hamlet, when you go to it, there is 2 broken elevators and there is a crumbled up stairs. And I worked it out with exactly, if you know, in a vertical sense, that right below that, this will all match up. So when I expand this, it will be the second deep, or the second level, as the dwarves say, or as I refer to them in my game, the Feldurn. So the Feldurn would, you know, exactly that this is the second level. And below this, Greg even alluded that there is a third level.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah.
Man. That's
so
awesome.
I had to think about, I was like, man, this thing would be massive. I was like, I had to figure out an idea of like, why would it still be cut off, and why would there not be like the goblins and the orcs and everything else like just running rampant down here? So and that's where I came up with my concept when I started that. And then I started, like I said, random drawing again.
I'd like to see you and Greg collaborate on something sometime. I don't know what that would be, but you know, like that would be cool. I think you guys could really come up with some cool stuff. That's great. All right. So so this is Dwaro Deep, and it's like connected slots right into the
first gate.
Yeah. The first gate. That's cool. This font looks exactly like Dwaro Deep type font.
It took me a while to find it.
Yeah.
You know, I found it. I was like, yes. Yeah. And like I said, you know, we're talking about writing what you know. If you go to, I believe it is the, there is a tomb. Go towards like 13 around number. Hold on, let me see the map again. Pull it back up real quick. Yeah, make it bigger for me. Pull up number 10.
Okay.
11's a nod to our characters, which is funny because when we play tested this, they never made it that far.
I'm going to back it off a little bit now. This one, the arch around the stone door.
Yeah. So I know that Greg mentioned this, but, you know, kind of going back to like what you know. So I'm from West Virginia. So West Virginia is known for coal. So you can go ahead and read that about the tunnel trues.
All right. The arch around the stone door is engraved with 2 menacing dwarven faces. The door is engraved in Dwarvish with only a tunnel true's pick can open this lock. Oh, okay. The door opens only once a pickaxe touches it. It cannot be bypassed by magic or force. Anyone attempting to pick the lock or open the door another way will trigger the trap. The dwarven faces breathe coal dust from their mouths. Yeah. They got the black lung.
Yep. Well, that's down at the bottom. We're getting there.
Oh, yeah. Covering a 30-foot section of the hallway in both directions. PCs within 10 feet take 66 damage. Within 20 feet, 46 damage. And 30 feet take 2d6 damage. A successful savings throw versus breath results in half damage. If save fails, percentage dice must also be rolled with a 10% chance that the PC will develop crackle lung. Oh no. Losing 3 points of constitution and have a permanent cough. That could give you away too.
Yep.
This is the burial chamber of Funden Tunneltrue. Sarcophagus sits in the middle of the room. That's cool. I don't imagine that Zoolander would do too well in this dungeon. Oh, that's cool. This is great.
Yeah.
So are you just looking to like add some illustrations in here and a cover before you polish this?
Yeah, so like I said, this one right here, which is like, it's already available. You can get it. Just kind of like the other where I kind of like polished it a little bit before I'm going to put it on Drive-Thru RPG to be like, oh, here's a preview before I expand it. So I'm going to do much the same. I'm going to do the cover. I'm going to, one of the adversaries in here is I believe Greg calls them the fungus man. So the fungus man. Or men that I've got some pieces. I'm going to paint them up, and then I've got an idea of like how to do it. And I've done a great piece for my dad that I won an award for, and I'm going to borrow it and some other of my adventuring pieces. I'm going to set them up around a gate that's being broke open. That's a dwarven forge that is a dwarven gate that's broke open, and I'm going to put the mushroom folk in it. And I'm going to take the snapshot and everything and put it in there. So that's my plan for the cover for this. And then like I said, for the most part, I'll probably put some spot art here and there, and then be like, okay, here's your preview version. But the expanded version, I'm doing a whole level. We're going to do a whole level, just like the first gate, expanding off of this. I've given myself some time and everything because, with the holidays and stuff, once everything like closes out, that, this will be one of the things that, will be in the process of being finished up before we'll be put in a layout and then packaged up and then, go through the whole Drive-Thru RPG, well, let me see how this turns out. Okay. All right. Now, it might need to wait a month or and a half, I think, so, which by the way, talking about the previews and stuff, I don't know exactly when it's going to show up in this month, but Mad Scribe magazine,
right? Yes,
has one of my adventures in it, which is also a adventure that is linked to Full Metal Tilt. It has a basic version as well as the O table that's in it, the original table. That way I'm not like giving away like the whole cow, I'm just a little bit, just so that people could play it. So before I actually put up the basic rules, when it launches, you will be able to get Chris Miller's Mad Scribe magazine, issue number 12, The Blue Lady, which I did give you a copy of, which is my own pieced together real quick version of it for my own referee purposes. There you go. It's a Blue Lady. That's also, again, like I like doing what's my subject matter and everything. So,
awesome.
And then I also alluded to it as well because like I do a lot of random rolls when determining treasure and stuff. And one of the and all the heraldry, again, I will say that Frank Avila did, which you can check out in here as well. That a treasure map got rolled up. And I'm like, wow, okay, what do I do with this for this night? And I thought in the end, if you beat these 11 knights, that's at Beaumont, that I let people vote on it. One of the knights' name was Beau, and they said, well, that has to be the leader. And I was like, oh, he's got a Mott and Bailey, so it's Beaumont.
Yeah.
That's a little bit of my actual campaign map there. That's my own world there. That's in the Iron Shade Wood.
Wonder if he's a Duke, he'd be Bo Duke.
He'd probably be Bo Duke. He needs to aspire to do that.
Yeah.
But I decided that since he had like a map and everything, that at the end he would ask people, will you best at me and everything? And I found this map and I want to go on to this adventure, this quest. And I put in there, I said, this will be a future Mad Scribe magazine adventure by me again for Dragon Slayer.
Awesome. Yeah.
Now, I will tell you some little nods to, is how my mind works here. The Black Hands is based off of Monty Python. We Can Dance is based off of the song.
Yeah.
And since Mad Scribe alluded to me that he was descended from Chris Miller said he was descended from the Scots, that the myth about the red cap. I decided to throw in a little optional adventure with a red cap, the Crimson Peddler.
Oh, how interesting. Yeah, I don't know a whole lot about like red cap as far as like mythology and things like that. That's fascinating. I should look into that. So this is great. So the Blue Lady, like, give me a quick synopsis, because if you look at the cover, it looks like this is a jousting module, right? Because you can you can see the tracks, and of course she's going to be probably favoring some lucky or meriting, jouster, right?
Yeah. So the gist of the Blue Lady is that it can be pretty much the adventure can be placed anywhere that there's a woods, and you come across the knight. By the way, it's one of my player's characters. I asked him if I could actually use him and everything. His name is Tudwall the Portly, and Tudwall ended up losing in a joust that the lady that he was accompanying as his ward had prompted him to take up the challenge. Because she was bored. So anyway, thus she was taken, as he would say, from these scoundrel knights, and the adventurers thus will go off and say, well, whether they want to join him or not. If not, he'll go on his own. I've left all that. But we'll say that they do. In the end, they go into the woods. They come there. They find out that the knight who runs it, Lord Beaumont, or Lord Bow, or Bertram Bow. Lord Bertram Bow is not, as bad as he seems, and he's just like, we're bored. We just wanted to joust, and we just took her as like, an enticement to bring other people here so that we could, joust. We haven't been to tourney in so long, so he says, I'll give you an option. He's like, I'll host you, but until you beat me and all my knights, I'm not letting her go. So there's 11 matches that you have to win. And I did a play test of this, and it's amazing just how dice and just real life is funny. And I had 2 play testers. They went in. One of them was Howard Young. The other is Isaac's Winfrey. Winfrey got all the way to the end and then lost. And it was all up to Howard at the end. They had already made their way through all of them, and it was just between him and Lord Bertram Bow. And he was able to knock him off the horse. And
wow.
Yeah. So it has went through the play test, so I know that it can be done. And in the end, you not to give anything away, but you do find out, you have choices of what her intentions was truly is.
Oh, wow. Cool. That's great. All right, let's take a look through here, because I know that the heraldry in here, I do remember seeing it when I was skimming through. Now this gives, it looks like it gives like a basic rundown of jousting.
Yep.
In case you don't already have Full Metal Tilt.
Yeah, that was my plan, is that this comes out in October, so people get a preview and they'll be like, well, what is this? And then it'd be like, well, you can see my Kickstarter come November 15th.
Yeah, nice.
In each one of the nights there, if you scroll back up, they all have their own little tactics. So it's not like you're just jousting, you know.
Ah, nice.
But yeah, it's just the basic with just the one table. And then I put some additional creatures in here that are not within Dragon's. Yeah, the Threaten. That's one of my combinations. Remember I said Monty Python. So yeah, that is a Eaton or an Eton with 3 heads, a Threaten.
Yeah. Abomination. New creatures, stags, giant stag. Let's see. Here's some NPCs. And I guess, so do you name them yourself? Is that the idea? Kind of like in B2?
Yeah. So when I was looking through Greg's stuff, and then when I was randomly rolling, and I was using the AD&D chart out of the Dungeon Masters for forested area, and also the Sylvan, I'd bounce between the two. That's when I came up with my random encounter chart, which I use a D12 for myself. I use like 11 being kind of like a basic encounter, and then 12 being like it could be off the wall or even worse for you. And so then I built those 2 tables, and then I was like, well, do I have examples of this? And then on those tables, I put the page number for every one, whether it's in the Mega Dungeon Monster Manual or in Dragon Slayer. But if not, I'm like, I'm going to have to create these. So I went back and looked at what some people had done in the past, and I was like, okay, well then here's my creation. So like I came up with the Threaten out of my own idea, and then that there's not a warg, but you could use a dire wolf. So, but yeah. I went ahead and did a warg, and then I've got the barbarians, because there's barbarians in my Iron Shade Woods, and then I put down a tribe, just kind of giving people a little bit of a sandbox in the in the magazine for the short adventure, so I was just making sure that I, covered all my bases here, kind of giving some people some stat blocks. So that way they didn't go off looking and be like, man, I don't have this. And they'd be like, well, as long as you got the Dragon Slayer rules, or if you just had BX, you could play this. Not a problem. So,
yeah, that's right. Oh, that's cool.
So you should be getting close to seeing Tudwall, the Portly.
There we go. He's the drinker, huh?
Yeah. So my buddy Aaron was like, I'm naming this guy Sir Tudwall the Portly, and all he has on his shield is his favorite drink and his favorite drinking song. And he's like, that's all. That's what I want on there. I said, okay.
Awesome. This is a cool shield. You like
that?
Kids?
Yeah, that's all these were Frank Avila, and
nice
now,
job, Frank.
Now the first one, like I said, that was Aaron Amick said, this is my idea. Frank gave him 3 different choices, and I knew as soon as I saw like the paper and all that, that's what he's going to pick, and he's like, yeah, that's what I want. And then Lord Bertram Bow, I was trying to think, I wanted something that just looked pompous, and also kind of making you think, well, maybe this guy's not good and I don't want to like him, and I said, I came across his heraldry, and I said, Frank, I really like this son, but I want you to give him a mustache, and I want this kind of a mustache on it. And I said, and I want a checkered field in the back. And so he was like, okay. He said, what about the other knights? I was like, he goes, will you let me just do it? And I was like, sure. So I gave him free rein. So all the rest of them, this is all just him. And I'm going to tell you, I was very impressed. I was like, Frank, this is awesome. And he was like, I even put, the little sun in each one of them as a nod to their liege.
Okay. So yeah, I was going to ask if this guy was somehow affiliated or associated because of the sun.
Yeah. So Lord Bertram Bow, kind of like the little backstory of like why he's in there. And I don't necessarily think I put it in there, but it's something like I'm working on for future, is that Beaumont is an old mott that's in the middle of this it again, I like my forests to be a little creepy and fairy, have, with your fairies and everything. So, or fae, that they're kind of like defending the road and everything, that people do travel back and forth between a town known as Taustadt in my game, which Taustadt is Deutsch for border town, or barter town, excuse me. And
Barter town, like in Mad Max.
Yeah,
cool.
Right.
Spin the wheel.
Right. So he has knights that have, because he is a, as you see there, he's neutral good. He's actually a good character. That he has knights that have come with him that have went either to quest or just to be in his, that you have him as a patron. So and that's where the other 10 knights come into play.
Okay. So going down, they all have a son. So it shows their affiliation. Got the Ram guy.
Yep. That's all Frank.
Yeah. This is cool. Like the eagle, the hawk, falcon maybe. I like that. That's cool looking. And this, I love this. The colors.
Yeah, that is there. Matthew, he is the one who has the map.
Okay. Kids, do you got a favorite shield?
Josh ran away. I like the one where it's up. Oh, I like the green one.
This one?
Yeah. Green's the best color.
That is pretty. Do you have a favorite shield, Sonny? Let's see. There might be. Oh, that's it for the shields.
You scroll up.
Yeah. Hard to choose. That one's pretty cool. Yeah. They're all awesome.
Yeah, Chris, when I gave this to him and everything,
I like the duck.
He likes the duck.
This. Yeah, I do like that black swan. That's one of my favorites. I like that. I will say that when I sent this over to Chris and everything, he's like, "This gives me Prince Valiant vibes," is what he says. This whole adventure just reminds me of that, and I was like, "That's what I was going for." I said, "And I will use what you just said as a praise on the Kickstarter."
That's awesome. I'm a Tarzan fan.
Yeah.
And one of the artists that was very early, maybe one of the first or the first artist for the Tarzan comic strip was, oh gosh, what was his name? Hal Foster, who drew Prince Valiant. So he was famous for Prince Valiant, and he also did Tarzan. And I was in the like a used bookstore. Mm-hmm. And I saw like volume 2 of like full color, Prince Valiant. It was like nice, like almost coffee table size, but not quite. And I was like, oh yeah, man, this is great. I should just pick this up. And I did. And then I like went in like a couple weeks later, and what did they have? Like randomly that I found, they had volume 1.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah. And I was like, this is unreal. Like, I can't believe I scored like that. And then, so I had to like order Alex Raymond's Flash Gordon volume 1 and 2 just to kind of match it.
Nice.
Yeah. But this is great. I love it. This is very. I think that the shields and the heraldry is a great touch. I think that's awesome. It kind of gives a lot of life to the module. So great job, Frank. Frank's asking, what's your next big project, Travis?
Well, the Kickstarter. getting through it and getting everything done for that. That's my main focus. But in the future, I mean, I know that you've asked me, Ryan, about me rolling my coffee creation. That I'm almost coming up on a full year. I wanted to do 365 different characters with birthdays and everything, just to have to where you could just pull them. I've even used it at conventions, and somebody just came up and said, hey, I'd like to play at your game at ChartCon. I was like, well, I don't have any pre-gens, and then just hit me. I was like, I have all these. I was like, you know what? I said, just roll me, I said D12, and I said, or it was a D8. I can't remember like how many I had done at that time. I would say a D8. And then I said, well, whatever you come up with, I was like, this will be your birthday, and then there's your stats. And I gave it to a guy, and the guy was like, wow, I've never had this. He's like, okay. And he just went with it. He was like, this is awesome. He was like, I've got stats. I didn't even have to think about it. And there's, he's like, I'm just so used to like, oh, I'm thinking about my character and I want my character to be this way. And I was like, nope. I was like, you get to play human and this is it. This is my option I'm giving you. And he's like, okay, sounds great. And ever since then, he's like, hey, I want to play in your Discord. And I said, sure, come on down.
That's cool. Yeah, no, that'd be a cool project too. So Abigail, just to kind of frame that one for you, just in the background, Travis has been working on this like book of NPCs, and he's like been rolling up their stats, their ability scores, and kind of working on that because he wants to have like a bunch of pre-generated NPCs that people can use in their games. So.
Yeah, I will say this, Frank. It's between that. I've been doing a hex or hexa 2 a month out of a 6 mile hex, doing locations and everything, points of interest and whatnot for hex 2025. But also, I want to fully do the mounds of the fairy. Yeah, there you read my mind. The mounds of the fairy kings. Because it's based off of a place that my grandfather and my dad used to take me to, Canal State Forest, and that's just where I was generating where these different barrows are and all these different trails in this fairy forest, and I plan to do that in a 6 mile hex. And so right now you're just looking at 300 feet hexes out of that 6 mile hex.
Cool.
So, and there'll be all these different mounds as well as, fey creatures and whatnot within this frosted over forest. And in some parts, probably not so frosted over because, it's a fairy realm as well.
Now, when you're doing a hex like this, are you like randomly generating the direction of the path or do you kind of have it in your head at first? Okay, so in this case, like I was talking about, that it's based off Canal State Forest in West Virginia, which is in Kanawha County, next to the capital in Charleston. What I've done, and I thought it was funny because I just recently was watching about like dungeon design and everything, and Dundermoose had a bunch of like the big names of people that created work, masterworks and everything, from like Chubby Funster to I never can get this. I believe his first name is Rob, who did what is it? Gods of the Forbidden North. Oh, and, yeah. Also Alexander McCrease. And I will say this, that Alexander said, I just collect maps wherever I go and stuff. You got to be a magpie. And I was sitting here, and we go on trips. And again, like I say, write what you know. There's stuff that I haven't put out yet. Things are from West Virginia, but also like travels that I've been to. And one of the things is that when me and my wife went for, after my grandfather had passed away, I wanted to go to these trails that he used to take me on and stuff. And I picked up a map and I said, I know what I'm doing with this. And then, and I've just collected, even when we went to other, places in West Virginia and maps, I'm like, I need the trail map. I want the, Yeah. So in this case, I wasn't randomly generating, but when I do my hex crawls, I do use a couple of different systems. And I do get those points of interest. And then from there on out, then I can really deep dive in it. But
naturally when my characters decide, hey, and sometimes they do this, they're like, I'm not going down into Dwaro Deep. I just want to go and hex crawl over here. And I'll say, okay. And I bring out the charts and I'm just like, I have no clue where they're going. I have no clue what I'm going to generate. And sometimes it's like, they're like, oh, so there's a barrow here? I'm like, yeah, there's a barrow here. And I'm sitting here going, okay, I might have to break out the random dungeon.
Yeah.
Start from there.
Spot, yeah.
And I even have a deck of cards that I picked up. I think it's Axebane. I think there's a deck of cards, and on the cards, it's like it has little dungeons on it, or dungeon pieces that you can move around. And
so you just shuffle the deck and then you lay it out. Okay.
Yeah. There's like rules. It's like you have entrances and everything, and I've used that for when they decided to go. I think it's called the Valley of Woe in Dwaro Deep. There, it alludes in text Greg has put there that there is some tombs of some ancient kings that are there. And but they're very hard to find. And I had some characters that said, hey, we want to go over here, and we heard about these tombs and we want to go into it. And so I just broke that out and we started delving into some areas. And I will just put it this way. My PCs, they need riddling. They don't stay in one place at one time. They're all over the place. And it just depends. Like I run 1-to-1 time in a West March style, so loosely a West March style. That every adventure ends in a town or a stronghold. So that way that, I could have people say, oh, I can't play because I got the kids, or, so-and-so's got banned or whatever. I'm like, okay, I gotcha. But then when they get here, they're like, okay, who do we have? All right, this is what we're going to go do. And so I've got places that they have went over multiple times and I've had to dungeon refill it, or they just went off the map and said, I want to go that direction. I'm like, all right. So
Abigail, just to catch you up there, a West Marches campaign is a style of play that's actually pretty old. It's very old, and it's kind of being brought back again nowadays because it's a way to manage conflicting schedules with players because everyone's busy and they can't all get together on the same night. So what you do is you have like a town or like a place that's like your muster point where you like begin and end the adventure every night. And then you kind of, then that way, whoever comes, like, the adventure is kind of like a one shot. And then, people can come and go as they're available.
Yeah. You told me about this when we were talking like with Sam.
Oh, okay. All right. Go ahead, Travis.
I was going to say just one of the other things I like about running it in 1-to-1 time in that nature. People always say, well, I've had all these character concepts and stuff, and like then create them. Because you have a stable and you could have so many different characters that's up near the Barrow Maze. You could have your dwarf, which that was where the goal of the whole Dwaro Deep grew out of, is that my buddy Aaron Amick, he loves dwarves. Dwarves are his favorite. And when I showed him that, he says, I want to play that. Yeah. And, him and his brother, they decided, well, they're going to be kin too. So his kin, my kin, as in the dwarves are all venturing together. And at some point in times, we laughed and said, we literally have 7 dwarves going into this dungeon. We're like, we've got good numbers here, and then, while they're doing their stuff now, because they're a little bit higher level, those same players said, well, I kind of need some lower level characters in case if we don't have all the dwarves at the table, meaning like there's not everybody here that plays the major dwarves, then I can play, like my buddy Aaron plays his half orc ranger who doesn't like orcs. And, everybody can play something different and say, okay, this character's here and they're doing this, and this character's here doing that. And, it makes for fun play, and you can have the variety that you want, and you're not, not worried about, well, I got so bored of always playing, this same location over and over again. And it's been great ever since I've like instituted these things. It has changed my whole gaming dynamic. And I know for like my friends, we used to switch DMs because we got bored. Now I'm living the dream because I'm a permanent referee. I love doing it. And so I'm like, here we go. It's like we get to play. And then there's some nights that people say, hey, I'm running my game for my people and stuff. I'm like, okay, that's fine. We'll see who shows up. And if nobody shows up, if I'm in the mood, I'll solo play.
Yeah.
Find out about, other regions in my area.
Yeah, no, that's cool. That's great. Yeah. Does your wife and daughter play with you?
Mariah has played, and my daughter has played too as well. But at this point in time, she's in the stage of she's got boys and dance and swim, or well, I should say show choir and swim, and but Mariah, like, she loves making characters and advised me on stuff, but she just got to the point she's like, I'm not playing. But she has played a couple of times, but she has been a wellspring of inspiration. I would never have came up with the idea of the free cats until one day she was taking the collars off of the cats and everything and cleaning them, and she says, "You're now free cats," and I'm like, that's a great idea for my Grimalkin. All these elven cats, that they're the free cats.
Awesome. Yeah, that's great. Yeah, that's cool. Well, this is a really exciting offering that you're coming up with, Travis. I'm so glad that you were able to tell us all about it. It's really cool, and I hope that everybody else out there is excited for this, because this is a really, really innovative thing, and it's going to be done well, I know. Gosh, so glad that you were able to come over and talk all about this cool stuff you have going on. So November 15th is when the Kickstarter begins. It goes through to December 15th. And what, I guess I should ask you, what's the price point that we're looking at here? Is there anything listed yet?
No. What I'm looking at right now is that $10 for a PDF and $15 for a print.
Cool.
So we're looking at, if you get the two, or you get the one, you get you get Full Metal Tilt and a PDF, $10. If you want to print, you get, for $15, and you get the PDF. And then the adventures, if you just want one, $10, $15, so forth and so on. But I will say this, that, I will have where you can package and say, hey, I want all of it for, I want prints for all three of these. You'll get the PDFs. That will be, of course, 15, 15, and 15, so $45. So, but yeah, I'm just looking to, to get my name started and everything, the Grey Cloak Publishing, and also get Full Metal Tilt, out there in the hands for people to play.
Yeah. Oh, great. Well, this has been great. I've really, really am pleased with what you've done here, and it's super exciting. Looking forward to the Kickstarter.
Thank you, and thank you for having me on, Ryan.
Absolutely, yeah. Let's have you on again sometime.
Oh, I would love to. I'd love to get back on.
Yeah, great. Yeah, I think that would be great.
Like I said, I'm a fan of your guys' show. I've watched the live plays. I've been waiting to get to the barroom fight, but yeah. I'm still trying to make it through. I believe you're in the Caves of the Unknown right now.
Yeah,
I think you used Dungeon, to generate that. I think
I did.
Don Jun, or what I mean. Don. Yeah, I can't remember
exactly. Yeah. Yeah. That's right.
Yeah. That's it's been a lot of fun. I've been, like I said, when I walk and stuff, I listen to you all. Sometimes squabble over. Don't kill my rat. Don't. I was like, I understand. I was like, yeah, I wouldn't want nobody to kill my rat either. So.
Oh man, I'm so pleased to know that you like enjoyed the show. I really love that, man. Thank you. Yeah, like I kind of hope that people will like take a look at the show and be like, oh, it's kind of funny to watch these kids like banter and stuff, you know. And you know, and then but also like check out some D&D while they're at it, you know. So that's great. That's perfect. But yeah, no, let's have you on again.
Yeah,
and
that's great.
yeah, and so Full Metal Tilt, everybody, November 15th on Kickstarter. And we will talk to you all later. Thanks so much, everybody. Bye-bye.